In the autumn of 1940, under the decisive name of Felix, German High Command ingeniously designed the seizure of the Rock of Gibraltar in conjunction with Spain. This elaborate plan was not to capture a simple objective in the Mediterranean. The aim of the plan was to reach final victory in Europe by cutting away vital supply lines that tied Great Britain and its empire. The plan, like many other plans before it, would see the daring and infamous blitzkrieg effect put into motion one more time. An effect that made the German military machine renowned for enabling complete and overwhelming victory over its praise. Praise that would stand no chance against the massive, overpowering thrust that engulfed even the bravest of armies and reduced the largest and unconquerable cities into dust. Gibraltar was at the threshold of this blitzkrieg, and it was just a matter of time before the swastika, together with the fascist Spain, marched their armies into Gibraltar. Within the High Command, questions were soon whispering in secret. Was it theoretically possible to capture the rock? After all, legend had it that the Rock of Gibraltar was impregnable and solid, a mass of Jurassic limestone that could withstand the test of time.
They were the only outpost in the mainland of Europe where the Union Jack flew throughout the war. Nowhere else except Little Gibraltar.
Gibraltar at the time was not ready for an attack, and it would have undoubtedly fallen within 3 days. The British knew this, and so did the Germans, who were fed daily with masses of information by the Spanish spies, as well as intelligence gathered by Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, the ambiguous head of the German Secret Service, and his special team of secret agents based in numerous locations around Gibraltar.
The
preparing was more than interesting. We did all exercises in steep stone hills. We trained in both attack and defense. We always were on a steep hill to get used to firing uphill and downhill.
Teams of Royal Engineers worked alongside Canadian Royal Engineers, Spanish Labour and the local Gibraltar Defence Force. Their aim, to drive a system of tunnels inside the solid rock and build a subterranean city. The British garrison at the time consisted of 16,000 troops. The notion was that a fortress would be built inside the rock, within the presence and fortified fortress of Gibraltar. If, however, Gibraltar fell, all remaining contingents would then continue fighting inside the rock. But they all knew this would be a death trap, as they could only fight up to a certain point, a point that would eventually reach a dead end, and these tunnels would then turn into their own tombstones, as they would be trapped between the fast approaching invading armies and the cold and solid rock behind them. When this moment came, everyone knew then there would be no way out. These were times of glory for some and hardship for many.
The tunnels were designed for a whole garrison of 16,000 troops to live underground for a period of 9 months, because it was thought that Gibraltar would be besieged by the Germans, U-boats and warships around the straits, preventing any supplies coming in. So preparations had to be made for supplies, ammunition, and all the commodities for a garrison to depend on, to last for at least 9 months without any outside help.
The situation around Gibraltar, and later in his biography, Lanz mentioned that he was shocked because the plans he had in his hand saw an attack to Gibraltar from both land and sea. He saw this was an open area and then realized this would have been a suicide mission.
And we had a raid, 2 raids, one day after the other. And the first, there was something like 100 planes in it. And the second one, probably a little more. And they came and they bombarded Gibraltar. They actually came and bombed us quite thoroughly.
The tunnels in Gibraltar really are immense. There are more tunnels and tunnel space than there are roads. There's something like 26 miles of road surface on the rock, but inside there's over 30 miles of tunnel.
Ready for it, but on the other hand, it was really Franco who did the whole operation by stopping it. Although he was a dictator, as far as that incident is concerned, Gibraltar has to be grateful, and in fact the world must be grateful to him for having prevented Hitler from marching into Gibraltar.
And then came the story that we had to capture Gibraltar, or that they want to capture Gibraltar.
After the famous meeting at Andai on November 1940 between Adolf Hitler and Generalissimo Francisco Franco, where details of the operation were discussed, Franco asked for huge amounts of goods, food supplies such as wheat, fuel, ammunition and weapons for his people and country who still suffered from the effects of the recent Spanish Civil War. He wanted France's territories in North Africa. Franco's argument was that, in the case of an invasion, Spain would be blockaded via land and sea, so that Spain would continuously depend on German supplies. Franco also insisted that the troops invading Gibraltar would have to wear Spanish uniforms. Apparently Hitler agreed to that, so long as the soldiers wearing these uniforms were German. The then governor of Gibraltar, Mason MacFarlane, who fortified the rock with the tunnels, estimated that the rock, with some 16,000 men to defend it, would have withstood 1 day of siege before he took up his post as governor, and after securing defences, the rock could now withstand a siege of up to 4 days before it would fall to the enemy, quoting, "It would have been very bloody too." When the Second World War started, Gibraltar was very badly protected in terms of weaponry. Gibraltar at that time had only 3 anti-aircraft guns on wheels, which were moved by the intelligence every day. On a German map of Gibraltar, these guns appear multiplied all over the place. This is the first time a documentary of this magnitude has been undertaken to capture the full extent of the planification and diplomatic pressures associated with this operation. From British independent producer Martin Nuza and Spanish novelist and historical researcher Alfonso Escuadra Sanchez comes a special 60-minute documentary that will answer all the questions asked since 1940, combining extensive research from over 1,000 official secret documents hidden away in a German military archive that were last opened back in 1953, detailing this master plan in precise detail, together with original unseen footage direct from the Berlin and London military archives, backed by stunning shots from the 4 different key countries involved with this operation, and shot on location at the same time of the year when everything was happening back in 1940, especially to unravel the truth about this cutting-edge plan that would have undoubtedly changed the end of the war and the world as we know it today. German and British reenactment groups portray vital assault scenes in Gibraltar and go deep inside the Rock of Gibraltar's secret tunnel systems, where only the privileged have been fortunate enough to walk through in the past. With permission from the British Ministry of Defence, our cameras have filmed these tunnels and will make their debut in this superb 60-minute special, exclusively for you to watch. A large number of interviewees, direct participants of the attack, from members of the Gibraltar Defence Force and to veterans of the Wehrmacht itself, give us their testimonies of how it was like to have lived through these months of tension, when the world would have easily been changed if this operation had gone through as expected. Hitler wanted Gibraltar and entrusted one of his generals to mastermind a foolproof plan. General Alfred Jodel's plan was indeed foolproof and meticulously designed. Hitler's Directive Number 18 was undeniably infallible. Operation Felix, Hitler's Key to Victory, is a Second World War documentary that you must see to learn about this extremely sensitive operation that would undoubtedly have changed the war and the world as we know it today.